All right, welcome to this edition of the Whole Roofing and Remodeling Podcast. Today, we have Nate Brownell with Owens Corning, and you're the area sales manager.
Yep, for the Indianapolis market.
Okay, for the Indianapolis market. So just wanted to bring Nate in here today, let him introduce himself, and we'll just talk Owens Corning. We're a preferred contractor with them. We're going to let him talk a little bit about the preferred contractor program and just let you guys meet, some of the material that we use on your homes and stuff like that, just to understand why we use the material that we do. So, Nate, if you want to introduce yourself, your family, your dogs, no kids yet, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So my name's Nate. I've been with Owens Corning for a little over 2.5 years now. It's myself and my new counterpart, Nikki, who work the Indianapolis market. Territories mainly Indianapolis, split up geographically, and then I cover south down as far as Washington and then out west to Terre Haute. But no roofing background before I came on board with Owens Corning. I used to work for manufacturer commercial construction tools, so I had some commercial construction background, but roofing was brand new. And originally I'm from Rhode Island, so East Coast born and raised, huge Patriots fan, so don't hold that against me too much.
They suck this year, so it's okay.
They're pretty awful. That game last week was pretty hard to watch. My parents are still back out east. I've got a brother down in Florida now, and the girlfriend and I are up in Fishers, and we have three dogs. So like you mentioned, no kids yet, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Dogs may be worse. So yeah, just kind of talk about what attracted you to come to OC. Why you continue to work the Owens Corning, job. And because I mean, you've been a great resource for us. Your willingness to help and support the contractor, means a lot to us. I give you a hard time a lot, but we know that we can.
I can take it.
Yeah, we can reach out and have your support. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Well, it was an attractive position when it became available. Owens Corning has a really strong brand recognition, really strong name, not just in the roofing world, right? We're probably most known for our insulation products, but having that brand name, staying power, the history behind the company, their devotion to putting money back into research and development, right? What's really nice is, so we are the only publicly traded roofing company, roofing manufacturer. So we're you can buy our stock. It's right. OC, right? So there's a lot of transparency there for that, right? If you own OC stock, you can hop on a shareholder meeting. There's a lot of information that's available to you. So everything of ours is out in the open, whereas that's not necessarily the case for some of the private manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. And also we're 22,000 employees, right? Global company. But we're based right here in the Midwest. Right. So world headquarters, Toledo, Ohio. Yep. The shingles that make up the vast majority of the product in this market are made right here in Brookville, which is a huge selling point to Hoosiers, And even beyond that, our materials are all sourced from the U.S. Right. I believe we have 14 roofing manufacturing facilities in the U.S. So that's a strong point for me as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking before Adam got the cameras rocking and rolling here that the Brookville plant, like you said, one thing my team's done multiple tours, and one thing that always stuck out to me with Owens Corning was, especially in that plant in Brookville, I don't know the other plants, but how long-term most of their team members, employees had been. We were just talking, and you were saying that a couple of the higher-ups, their sons both work there, and their family works there. So that's for us as a small family-owned contractor, it is nice. We'll have people. I'll never forget. We was 4 or 5 years ago. I was at my son's t-ball game, and I had a couple bundles of shingles thrown up on the toolbox of my truck, and the guy goes, "I appreciate that." He's like, "I do maintenance down there," and that's cool for us to, local jobs and good paying jobs, just as a super small business owner compared to Owens Corning. You don't have the Brookville plant, you know how many employees they have?
I don't know the number, but your point on tenure was a good one. We had a lot of changeover during COVID. A lot of people took the opportunity to retire. So at one point in time, I think they said the average service time was like 22 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's down in somewhere in the teens now. Brian or Jeff down there would be able to answer that. But you've got guys that have worked there for 30, 40, and 50 years. Right. The guys that run the plant tours down there, Brian and Jeff, they've both been there for 36 years. And you can't miss the family atmosphere when you're down there. So it's really cool. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and they'll tell you they're the number 2 employer in the county down there, right behind the school corporation.
Right.
So
no, and like I said, just with our economy and that's an easier selling point for us when we're talking product in a customer's house of like, hey, support a small local business that, most of the material is coming from, literally within down the street. And I also seem to know a lot of the truck drivers that haul shingles. My wife's uncle, he freaking hauls Owens Corning shingles. So it was funny because we were talking one day and he's like, I'm in and out of that place multiple times a week. And that's just, once again, it's a small world that kind of all loops around. And so that's an easier aspect for us. So one thing that I want to kind of talk about a little bit is, like what sets Owens Corning apart material wise. We got a shingle here in front of us that you can't see on the camera yet. But, kind of show a little, kind of talk a little bit about what separates Owens Corning from the competition.
Sure. So one thing I will say, the brand name is a big deal, right? That people know the name Owens Corning, they know the Pink Panther. They're familiar with our products, to one degree or another. We're in all sorts of everyday appliances that people are using, right? But in terms of the quality that we offer, we're probably most known in the roofing world anyway for our Duration Series shingle, which is what we have in front of us. And the main selling feature of the shingle is the Sure-Nail Strip. So this is an Owens Corning patent. All right, we introduced it back in 2007. That was generation 1. We were first to the market. It was first of its kind. We redesigned it essentially and introduced it in 2011 or 2012 to this to this version that you see today. So one of the more powerful selling points actually for this, if you've talked to a contractor that's tried to pull off a Duration roof to do a repair, it's a pain because of how well these shingles seal together. So, and a lot of the power, a lot of the staying power, the blow through and blow off protection come from the Sure-Nail Strip. So it's actually embedded into the shingle. You can see here it's embedded right at the spine of the shingle, right, the common bond area. But this offers truly a no-guess nailing zone. So anywhere you nail in that shingle or in that strip, you're good to go. We warrant that. And then when that next shingle comes down, your adhesive is going to lay right on top of there. So we call it triple layer protection. But we actually did a contractor review of this shingle. We have some information out there. We did a test against some of our competitors. And what did our contractors find? One of the more impressive things that this helps with is actually nail blow through, because that's the worst thing you can do to shingle when you're nailing it, right? So our contractors then went and did the testing hands-on, said it performed up to 9 times better in preventing nail blow-through. And I believe it was up to 2.5 times better delamination resistance. But once these things seal, they seal really well. And like I said, if you've ever torn one off, if you think you're going to need a couple of shingles to make a repair, you'll probably need more than that because of how well these things seal together.
Well, and that's another thing, like you said, with the blow-through. I mean, we're at a day and age that nobody's really hand-banging nails with a hammer and nails. I mean, there's a few crews, very, very few. But so a lot of people's using nail guns, and it's kind of like we drive cars now instead of riding horse and buggy. It's technology. So that is nice to have, and like I always tell customers when I was in homes more than I am now, was like, it's pretty much a foolproof. Like I can bring my son right in here right now and ask him where the nail goes, and he knows, exactly where it goes. So that's nice. A lot of crews are Hispanic. Sometimes there's a language barrier, but they know exactly. And I'll be honest, a couple years ago when there was a material shortage, I had a couple jobs I had to get done, and I had to switch to a competitor. And my one crew said, if the next job isn't Owens Corning, don't call us. So I was like, okay. And then, like I said, it was just during COVID time, was a couple jobs that had to get done. The customer was just like, I just need a roof put up there, you know, kind of thing. So, but no, like I said, that's, and we've done some other informational videos on the Owens Corning and why we like that. So we'll tag that. I'll have Adam, you know, kind of tag that in the comments. So.
Sure. Yeah. And so we also have a really great YouTube page.
Okay.
There are some awesome testimonials from homeowners down in Florida with the recent hurricanes that talk about how well their Duration roofs performed with the wind resistance. So we test them up to 130 miles an hour, and you can actually achieve that same wind rating with 4 nails,
right.
A 4-nail pattern versus a 6 like you would need to use with our Oak Ridge shingle or something like that.
Yep.
But beyond the Sure-Nail strip, we take a lot of pride in our colors. So between our Duration series and our Duration Designer series, we have 24 colors to choose from. The Duration is a much more contrast blend than our Oak Ridge shingle, and the shadow lines are also darker and thicker. So even though some colors are available in Oak Ridge and Duration, if you were to look at the two, you know, installed on the same street next to each other, they look much different.
Right. Another thing you said, like Owens Corning, the brand recognition. You don't know how many times having a Pink Panther on the side of the truck. Like I've had people like in a neighborhood. Can my kids take a picture with your truck? Well, freaking absolutely. You're going to send that to your family, and yeah, they're going to look at the cute kid by the Owens Corning Panther, but they're also going to be like, whole roofing is going to start like ingrained in their mind. So yeah, I mean, absolutely on that. So. What else? Sorry, I felt a cough coming on. I've had this crap that
it's that time of year.
Oh my gosh, it's I didn't have it. Everybody else had it in the family, and then I just woke up one morning and it was like, holy hell, it hit me. So, what else there? So yeah, Adam's bringing in some more literature here for the Duration. So,
well, as it relates to Duration, I think the most exciting thing we've announced recently is that Duration now has a Class 3 impact rating. So when it comes to impact rating, the highest rating that you can get is a Class 4, which we have in Flex, which is actually a modified asphalt shingle. Duration now has a Class 3 impact rating, which is up to 1 3/4 inch hail. But there's been no changes to the formulation, which is cool. We knew that the shingle performed really well. We just never ran it through testing. But that's something that we just did. So in addition to what we talked about with the Sure-Nail strip, in addition to all the color offerings, it now offers a Class 3 impact rating for homeowners. And in this market, I mean, we've had plenty of hail this year. So that allows us to compete in that Class 3 space. And for the homeowners, you know, it adds that extra level of confidence. And now, because it's official testing, they have the ability to talk to their insurance agent and see what rebates might be available for that.
Yes, most insurance companies now offer discounts for Class 3 and Class 4 on the shingles. So compared to other ones, we won't necessarily talk to other brands. Do most of the other brands have a Class 3 now too?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty popular movement that kind of shifted this year. So Class 3 and Class 4 now, because I don't even know that there are too many availables for anything, too many rebates available for anything below a Class 3.
Yeah,
they do test down to Class 2 and Class 1, but I think 3 and 4 is where you see the rebates offered to homeowners. But our competition does offer Class 3 as well.
Sorry. No, like I said, I just I kind of saw that as a move in the market. You know, just insurance companies are the biggest. They buy the most roofs of anybody in a year, and you know they're moving away. You know, a lot of all the metal that we install is a Class 4 technically. So our manufacturer gives us that documentation. So we really try to mainly only install Class rated material between the metal and the shingles now. Very rarely do we not install a Class rated. And I know some people say, well, you're going to hurt your future business, but I would rather take care of somebody now and not have to put another roof on their house than put one on every 3 or 5 years, especially in this crazy Indiana weather. Because, like, especially this year, there was hail all over. All
Yeah, and
over the
that's
state.
that repeat customer argument I do hear. But the second that your neighbor has a hailstorm and your Duration Flex product stands up, and next thing you know, they see roofing crews in the neighborhood replacing everybody else's. That's going to be powerful enough to get the business. And I think, like you mentioned about the insurance companies, I think that the future of the industry, and I think most people kind of see that writing on the wall, that those impact rated shingles, more specifically the modified asphalt shingles, are the future of the market.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's just insurance is in to make they're a business for profit, and the rates just continue to go up. And now, speaking of that, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, and you may not know, so you can say no. Do you know one thing that just on insurance, sometimes they will do of course I'm kind of totally drawing a blank here, exclusion maybe on if there's a class rating, because I know for like metal roofing, there's some exclusions that if it's not if it's just cosmetic, then insurance won't pay for it even if it's hail damage. Do you ever heard any problems with that on shingles or not?
And I'd be interested to see what the definition they use for cosmetic is.
Right.
Because the testing for these shingles is, for the class 4, for example, they take a 2-inch steel ball, drop it on the shingle from a height of 20 feet or whatever it may be. And if the shingle cracks, it fails.
Right.
So if UL or ASTM is looking at that and saying, hey, a crack is a fail, well, you're going to see a crack. So what does visual or what does cosmetic mean to the insurance company?
And I know on like the metal roofing, more than the shingles, I know guys that will have magnifying glasses and take pictures, because of course it is damaging the structure, the strength of that metal. And it may not be a problem the first 6 months or a year after a hailstorm, but in 5 years, like, we'll argue it with the insurance company that it's not the same. One thing we use for insurance when we're dealing with insurance is pre-loss condition. Like, the customer didn't have, before the hailstorm hit, the customer had a roof that wasn't gonna leak in 5 years or rust in 3.5 years due to hail hitting it that day that it hit it. So that's the exclusion that we kind of got to argue and go around. And I just didn't know, just because as a business owner, I'm just always looking for the next stupid argument the insurance company's going to come back with. Like another thing, like right now, a lot of them is a discontinued shingle where the shingle is no longer made again.
Yep.
Well, now some insurance companies are starting to put stipulations in their policy that they'll only pay up to $5,000 or $10,000 if the shingle's discontinued. Mm-hmm. Well, once again, how do you get that back to pre-loss condition if I can't get that shingle? So, it's just a lot of the insurance game with the insurance game is just, I hate to say it, it's trying to be one step ahead of the crooked insurance companies.
Well, you guys on the contractor side deal with that a lot more, thankfully, than we do on the manufacturing side. But in terms of, saying it's only cosmetic, I haven't heard that one come up, but who knows?
Yeah, no, like I said, I just didn't know. And I think it'll be more as we roll forward with it in 5 years and 10 years, and there starts to be, shingles are aging and storms are hitting, and insurance policies will be, way different by then. So anything else you want our listeners to know about?
Well, one thing that I forgot to mention when you were asking about, what what attracted me to OC, for as big of a company as we are, I can pick up the phone at any point during the day if I have a question and call any number of my more experienced counterparts, which could be somebody in Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, and they take the time to drop whatever they're doing, answer my questions, right? So really, kind of going along with the same thing we talked about with Brookville, it's, even though we're a large corporation, it's a really family-oriented feel, and I really enjoy that aspect. And it's been very helpful, especially, navigating the roofing world for the first time. It's been immensely helpful for me.
Well, especially since no sooner did you get hired, they promoted Brenna. So, that kind of.
And she's excellent. And she kind of set a high bar.
Yep.
So I've been trying to take the reins and run with it as kind of the lead in the market now. And it's been a good but long year.
Right. Nope, absolutely. So, I just want to thank you for coming in. Thank you for our support of our team, popping in, helping us out whenever we need your support. And just any final words to leave with our audience?
Well, I do want to thank you as well. You guys are one of our really good preferred partners in the market. So any support that you need, I'm here for you.
You know what? Now that you brought that up, I'm gonna prolong this. So
I did. I
was like, gosh darn it, I gotta put notes here, but I don't want it to sound script when somebody watches it, So we are a preferred contractor with Owens Corning. There are some qualifications to meet for that, so I'll let you kind of talk about the preferred contractor program.
Sure. So first and foremost, it's somebody we look for in the market that has partnered with OC well in the past, right? Not just installing our shingles, but using our products and offering extended warranties, right? Which a preferred contractor can. In terms of qualifications, there is, we do look for you to be doing a certain amount of volume, right? Within the market. But really it's what kind of relationship do you have with your OC rep, right? Are you a steward of our product in the market? Because at the end of the day, the homeowner doesn't know Nate from Owens Corning. The homeowner knows Bob from Hull, right?
Yep.
So are you a good steward for our product in the market? Are you leading with Owens Corning in the home? And it's really just about being a good partner, right? So that's from who we look for to fit the mold of a preferred contractor. But then through the application process, they go through financials and credit checks, background checks, all that kind of stuff. It's not as simple as just signing up for it, right? And you have to be invited by your rep as well. So, as a preferred, you also have the ability to brand with the Panther, which is a big deal. So it is, it is something that we get questions about quite often.
Right.
So,
Well, and like I said, for us, it was when I started in the business, that's kind of what I was trained on. So it was this kind of second nature. And then with it being in Brookville and, my business or, my career in the roofing space started in Indy. And then when, it was ready for me and Emily to start our own thing, we knew that it was going to be in my hometown. And it made sense, as a partnership. I've said this before, there's other manufacturers and there's another one that we use quite a bit also. But there's other manufacturers that the support from the sales rep from your spot is just absolutely garbage. I called on one of your competitors early on in business and I had to call my supplier to get them involved to get a simple question answered. I'd called 4 times. And then literally 6 months later, they're like, hey, do you want to get lunch? And how can I get you to start using my product? I'm like, months ago, you should have answered my call because I have zero desire to ever offer your product ever again unless it's a last resort. So even for us, and that's one thing that, we're growing a sales team and to have the support from suppliers. And I know that's another, important aspect of your job is the support that you give, the local distribution to help us. That means a lot to us because then my sales guys know between SRS and you guys, Owens Corning, they're going to get their answer. There's questions, answered. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big extended warranty guy. It's just to me, the chance of somebody using it. Now I've kind of reevaluated that now that interest rates have went up so much. People are probably going to stay in their homes longer now if they had a lot cheaper interest rate. But before, the average homeowner moved every 6.5 years. Well, I sure hope you don't have if I put a new roof on, you're not going to have a problem within 4 or 5, 6 years, where you're going to need that. But I understand that there's some people we have people that ask about it and we sell a few a year. Well,
and selling the warranties aren't a requirement of being in the program. because essentially we've already established a relationship, vetted you to be a preferred contractor, right? But it is something that you're able to offer that sets yourself apart from, from any other contractor, really. And at the end of the day, it's another option for the homeowner.
Yeah, and I mean, and one thing that I always tell our sales reps to set us apart is like, we're going to build it to Owens Corning specs, or even just a recommendation. If it's ice and water on the eaves, like, we're always going to use starter. We're always going to use hip and ridge, and that sets us apart. Or just our guys talking about it to customers and them understanding like how we're going to build their roof out, like sets us so far apart. We try to get them, an extremely detailed estimate, just so they know exactly, what they're getting into. So,
yeah. And to your point about distribution too, I mean, we kind of work together as a team, right, to make sure that you're successful, because ultimately you guys being successful and achieving what you want to achieve, growth, whatever it may be, we're successful when you're successful.
Right. And I'll give one last plug to Owens Corning. One thing that I used to always talk about with customers was like the innovation of Owens Corning. And I'm going to butcher some of this, so I'm going to have you pop in and help. Like, are they the first ones? They had something to do with NASA, right?
So, yep, some Owens Corning products were spec'd into the spacesuits that walked the moon.
Yes, the spacesuit. That's right.
I think it was insulation products.
Yep.
We, during World War II, our products were spec'd into every naval warship built.
Okay.
From 42 on. 1953, we partnered with Chevy to come out with the first all fiberglass car body.
See, I was thinking there was a car body, and I couldn't remember, and I thought, man, if I said...
Don't hold me to the exact dates.
Yeah. No, I was like, I almost sound like an idiot if I say car body, and you're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, that was us. When I do the presentation, we talk about our timeline and our history, and my favorite thing to talk about is the Freedom Tower.
Yep.
So we do have some insulation product spec there, but my prior role dealt a lot with life safety plans for commercial structures. And so at the Freedom Tower, when you build a skyscraper, you've got your concrete slabs and your glass or dense glass on the outside, and you've got the gaps in between the concrete and the exterior wall or glass. And that gap needs to be filled with essentially fire rated material to prevent the spread of fire from one floor to another. And Owens Corning is spec'd into the plans for that building. So we're spec'd in the life safety plans of the Freedom Tower, which is I find very cool.
Right. Well, and I mean, it just shows you the Owens Corning's innovation to, they're always looking. And I mean, that's what you have to be doing in business. Like you can't rest on what's going on today. Like, like you said, the Chernow strip, one of your competitors has put something, I don't even want to say similar, but something on the back side of the shingle. And I just kind of laugh because I'm like, okay, I wonder how many nails don't go through that because they can't see it, so, but yeah, so. All right, that's going to be a wrap for this edition of the Whole Roofing and Remodeling Podcast. We appreciate your time, Nate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.